pesa zao. Waziri, ningekuuliza kama ungekuwa wewe, ungekuwa na uwezo wa kungojea miaka karibu 30 pesa zinje, na hali uko na mambo ambayo unafaa kutumia ile pesa kufanya. Kwa hivyo inawezekanaje utupe muda ambao unaona kama unakandilia inaweza kumaliziwa ili hao watu waweze kufaidika na pia waweze kupata nafuu, kwa sababu hiyo pesa imekaa kwa muda mrefu sana. Na ya mwisho waziri, ni kwamba unajua nchi inashikiliwa sana na wakulima. Vyama vingi vya ushirika ambavyo vimeanguka na vingi vinaenda na pesa wakulima, vimeenda kwa sababu ya uongozi mbaya katika vyama vya ushirika. Unafanyaje kuhakikisha kwamba jambo kama hili lilifanyika katika KCC haitarudiwa tena? Asante sana Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mandela.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My supplementary question, Honorable Speaker, is in relation to what the Cabinet Secretary has said in terms of the assets. Honorable Speaker, I asked a statement in September 2024 on the issue of assets of new KCC, and the Cabinet Secretary had committed to provide a list of assets with its valuation. We have not received to date. We also know that the 500 million that was paid was actually not commensurate to the value of the assets of KCC then. What are you doing as a Cabinet Secretary to secure the assets of new KCC as they are? Because, Honorable Cabinet Secretary, you have a very rogue board, and you know what they were trying to do. You know what they have done with they wanted to do with the new KCC headquarters. Of course, you know the Tetra Pak house, and you also know the one in Ngong Road has already been leased out. What are you doing to secure the assets of new KCC? And when are you going to provide the comprehensive list of the assets of new KCC?
Senator Mgatana.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I was listening carefully to the answer the Honorable Cabinet Secretary was giving. And I wanted to draw his attention to the decision of the Court of Appeal when they negatived the decision of the High Court that the workers do not have a right. You said something very fundamental there. You said that the Court of Appeal said, despite, aside from the legalities, please, Attorney General, find a way for these workers to be paid. What I'm finding curious, Mr. Speaker, and this is where the question is, why, as a minister, and by the way, I'm glad that you took it up and wrote a letter to the Attorney General, but what the Court of Appeal is simply saying is that there is no legal basis for the payment of these workers, but there is a moral basis. That is, as ex gratia payment is due and owing. So the question is, why couldn't you call the litigants or their committee, just agree? You just tell them, this is what the court has said, this is the end of it. Why can't we agree on 500,000 each person or 200,000? You negotiate and then seek the budget through a cabinet paper. Why then start forming interministerial committees? I don't know what. Why follow this long-sighted, winded process? Don't you think that's a way of trying to escape responsibility? Why can't you just shorten this process, write a cabinet paper, get funding for it, and pay these people? And why can't you do just a shortcut for this matter to be resolved? Because all the question the Senate is asking you is, can you shorten the timelines to finish this matter? Why can't you, Mr. Minister? I submit, Mr. Speaker. Senator Veronica.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity, and welcome to Senate CS Cooperatives and Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development. You have a big assignment in your hands, Honorable CS. And when I look at the answer you have given us regarding claims and terminal dues by employees who are in KCC in 1999, I get very concerned, because when our citizens invest in assets they believe to be co-owned by government, It means it's like a bond of guarantee that they cannot lose their investment and their dividend. But when a dispute is this prolonged and it's affecting people who are not very well able financially, it's not a very good statement. In fact, the treasury bills, why Kenyans invest in treasury bills is because there is a guarantee to that treasury bill returning dividends. So CS, when do you think you can pay these former employees of KCC, and why has the new KCC refused to oblige to the directive of a minimum price guarantee of 50 shillings per litre, a complaint which has come from a county like Nyandarua? I spoke to a few residents from Nyandarua whose milk is being sold below 40 shillings. Why are we having that confusion when the policy guideline on the price, the minimum guaranteed price for their milk should not be below 50 shillings to the farmer and 3 shillings for administrative cost? Why do we have those disparities?
Senator Kisang.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, my supplementary question, I listened to the answers by the CS, Honorable Speaker, and the answers are very diplomatic because CS said we may pay after the subcommittee, the cabinet subcommittee finishes its job and Parliament allocates the resources. What I expected the CS to say, Honorable Speaker, is as the CS in charge of cooperatives, he will allocate resources, he'll budget for 2025, 26, and put in the budget. National Assembly appropriates what a proposal that you've already given. They don't initiate the proposal. So that's why the answers are basically diplomatic. And what Senator Mugadana said, basically this is a long way of delaying because most of the employees, Honorable Speaker, have already passed on. The children, the spouses, are the ones they've been waiting for the last 30 years, Honorable Speaker. Unless basically, as a country, we say, may these people then, instead of using the law to frustrate our people, can we then auction the property for new KCC? Because, you know, they are forming new companies to evade responsibility, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Rover.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this matter for KCC was actually executed at the Labour Committee where I sit, Mr. Speaker. And I wanted to ask a supplementary question to Waziri because I have seen that in his response, he has put a chronological order of what transpired. And from his response, from your response, Waziri, you can see that there are 3 issues that are being highlighted. Number 1, no one really knows how a company was sold on the basis of assets and profits, but liabilities were put aside. Because we have engaged with the workers in the Labour Committee, and they were repeatedly informed that they were not part of the agreement and nothing to do with them was going to be absorbed in the new KCC. Much later, when they went to court, which you have also listed here, you can see that there is a suit where the employees were actually told that they are owed their dues. So my supplementary question is, first of all, are you aware that there has been conflicting communication to these employees? First, that they are not part of any kind of sales agreement. The second one, they were told that some of them will be absorbed, and some of them had even alluded and presented some things in the Labour Committee that they had been extended some offer letters on work. So are you aware of that? And then suddenly they were dropped. The other question is it possible for Kenyans to see the documentation of the sale from KCC Limited to new KCC? Because then some of these questions would be answered, including the list of inventory of the assets, including what was going to happen to the employees of KCC. And finally, we, as the Labour Committee, we were very against the interministerial working group or committee, because there's nothing that they are going to discuss that has not been discussed and proposed by the Labour Committee. So are you aware that, in fact, the mandate of the interministerial committee has not been outlined and is not to the public? So why do we have an interministerial committee just to buy time and continue to frustrate these Kenyans? Thank you, Speaker.
Honorable CS, you may now proceed to respond to those questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the members for raising these very pertinent issues. Honorable Kamal talked of staff and the shares of the farmers. And I can say here, Honorable Speaker, that most of the staff of KCC that were suitable for employment were taken over by new KCC. And obviously, Honorable Speaker, this has taken time, and most of them have actually retired. On the shares of the farmers of KCC, when the new company, new KCC, through the government, bought the shares of KCC, the government paid off approximately 500 million Kenya shillings. And this money was meant to compensate the shareholders of KCC 2000, which was actually a private company. And I've clearly stated how the companies moved from one stage to the other. Of course, Mr. Speaker, I have had complaints from previous shareholders of the KCC even before it was bought by KCC 2000, complaining about their shares. But there is little that I can do at that moment because this particular company had already moved. And I intentionally gave you the history of the company so that you can actually understand when I come up with other comments. Mheshimiwa Mbugwa, you talked of about 6 months has taken. It is clearly, and Senator Mkantana has already said this, that actually these particular employees were not supposed to be compensated by new KCC, because new KCC is a complete answer. But because of moral, and we thought these are Kenyans who have worked for all those years, they need compensation, even from government point of view. And I want to assure you that I'm going to take up this issue seriously so that these people are compensated as soon as possible. And in case I have problems, I'll come back to you before this House to say that this is where I reached and these are the problems that I have encountered. Senator Mwanzo talked of ownership. I can clearly state here, and this will cover also the questions raised by Senator Mandako about assets. Assets were taken over, and I'm ready to come with a full inventory of assets that were taken over. In fact, when I assumed office, I ordered a forensic audit on all the assets of new KCC. Unfortunately, I wrote a letter to the Auditor General, but unfortunately she was supposed to send staff to carry out that exercise up to this time. She has not done so because of shortage of staff and other pressing engagements. But I will make a follow-up so that a proper forensic audit is done, and I will avail the detailed inventory list of all the assets that were taken over by new KCC. The issue of governance in the cooperative movement is very rampant. And Mr. Speaker, I can say before you that that's why we came up with the Cooperative Bill 2024. The Cooperative Bill 2024 has gone through the National Assembly, and it is before this House. I want to plead with you, Mr. Speaker, that please let the House, the Senate, consider this legislation, the Cooperatives Bill 2024, and if it is passed, it will deal with many of these governance issues, because governance issues of the cooperative movement have been adequately addressed in that particular bill. The issue of assets and valuation, I promised that this will be available, a comprehensive list, and that I will also remind the Auditor General to do a forensic audit so that both documents of the list I have, already which I have, and the forensic audit, I will present it to the Senate. The issue of Mkatana, I'm with you, Senator Mkatana, about the moral responsibility of the government to make sure that these people are paid, and I'm going to take the responsibility of making sure that these people are paid as short as possible within the time frame. But the issue of interministerial was not the creation of the ministry. This was a recommendation from the AG, Attorney General. He recommended that we discuss. As you might be aware, at that time, cooperatives as a State Department was within the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock, so there might be some documents which are there, and that's why they were being brought in the fold, and also the Treasury to make sure that this allocation is expedited for this staff to be paid. On the issue of the minimum price for the milk, I want to state here categorically that it is 50 shillings. And I want to assure you that as I stand here, no farmer is owed any money for the milk that has been delivered, except for the month of March. And in the normal circumstances, farmers are paid between the 5th and the 10th of the following month. So for the month of March, they are going to be paid between 5th and 10th April. And I will want to know or get a list of those farmers who have complained from Senator Veronica who have not been paid at the moment. I'm ready to stand with what I'm saying, that no farmer is owed money. However, most of these farmers work through the cooperatives, The maximum we pay at the moment is 50. This money goes to the cooperatives. Cooperative will then deduct their own expenses as agreed by the farmers. So the farmers will end up with a net. So depending on the commitments of those cooperatives, some farmers will end up with 43, some farmers will end up with 48, because some of those cooperatives have actually committed some liabilities on behalf of the farmers which have to be deducted. But I can assure you that from KCC, no farmer is paid through the cooperative less than 50 shillings per litre.
Yes, proceed, Honorable Chairs. Senator Mandago, you may appoint the chair.
I want, as I have stated, that I will take it as my personal responsibility to just answer the last question to make sure that this particular employees of the new of KCC 2000 have suffered for too long. We will make what is possible to make sure that they are paid as soon as possible. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Senators will now move to question number 042 by Senator Veronica Maina. Honorable Senator, you may now proceed to ask your question.
Honorable CS, I have this question to pose to you. What immediate plans does the ministry have to revive Kimori Coffee Factory in Kairi Village, Kahumbu Ward in Kigumo constituency, which is critical for the economy of the residents of that area? And question B, could the Cabinet Secretary state the specific, very specific timelines for the revival of this coffee factory and indicate the resources allocated by the ministry for that purpose? And C, what measures does the ministry have for long-term sustainability and economic viability of this factory? Thank you.
Honorable CS, you may now proceed to respond.
Kimori Coffee Factory is the only factory belonging to Kimori Farmers Cooperative Society. Kimori Farmers Cooperative Society split from the larger Njora Farmers Cooperative Society to run separately with only one processing factory. Despite being registered to operate independently, Kimori Farmers Cooperative Society is now dormant due to unsustainable operations arising from low active membership, low coffee production, and poor governance. Kimori Factory requires the following facilities to revive operations. 1, drying tables, reconnection, and other coffee pulping machinery, and facilities are available. In order to revive the operations of the coffee factory and the cooperative in general, the ministry, in collaboration with the county government of Murang'a, intends to conduct fresh elections, to reconstitute the management committee, build capacity to the newly elected management committee, sensitize coffee farmers within the catchment area of the factory on the need to patronize the services of the cooperative, facilitate the reconnection of electricity to the coffee factory and the coffee farmers within the catchment area, and then finally facilitate the reconstruction of drying tables and services of other equipment and facilities. On question number B, the intervention listed in response A above will be implemented during the financial year 2025-2026, whereby we have factored in the budget provision of 18.5 million for coffee revitalization. Part of these funds will be used to support the revitalization of the operations of the Coffee Cooperative Society. On question number C, the ministry is working with other government ministries, departments, and agencies and is in the process of implementing the coffee revitalization strategy that covers several areas that include policy, both coffee and cooperative policies, legal, both the Coffee Act and the Cooperative Act and accompanying regulations, streamlining coffee marketing and payment systems, increasing area under coffee, amongst others. These measures are expected to improve the sustainability of the factory together with the coffee sectors in general. I submit, Mr. Speaker, sir.
You may now proceed to ask your two supplementary questions.
Honorable CS, are you aware that in spite of this answer which you have given, and which to a good extent is general, that at the point when this coffee factory was being shut, its annual production was over 1 million kilograms of coffee production, and that right now, farmers have to walk over 10 kilometers to access the next coffee factory, as a result of which they have abandoned their coffee farms because of the closure of this factory? And second question is, why have you shied away from giving a specific timeline when you can tell me, Senator Veronica, let's go to Kimuri Coffee Factory tomorrow, we are starting the operations and reviving this coffee factory? You have shied away from giving a proper schedule, and you are the ministry entrusted with ensuring that such factories are revived so farmers can be able to produce, take their production, their produce to the market.
Honorable CS, you may now proceed to respond.
Thank you very much. Senator Veronica, I'm aware of what is happening and in the coffee sector in general. And that's why we have come up with a coffee revitalization strategy for the year 2025-26, a project that is starting now and will go on for the next 3 years to ensure that we increase coffee productivity, we ensure proper governance, within the cooperative sector. And let me tell you this, I'm committed to go with you anytime you are available so that I can make my personal commitment to make sure that we revive this particular cooperative.
Senator Manzo. Yes, Senator Veronica, I thought your question had been addressed.
Yeah, but I need a clarification. There is no schedule served here. He's committed and that I can do the visit, but I want a schedule that goes to revive the factory itself. The visit is the easier part. But reviving the factory, why have you not committed a timeline or a schedule in your response? And can you give a supplementary response to give the timeline for which you'll commit? Because I don't want to believe that you'll take 3 years to revive something that's already existing, which only went down, Honorable CS.
Honorable Senator, I'm telling you, let us go to the ground. Through that judgment, when I'm on the ground, I will be able to tell you definitely this I can take such a long period to do it. Because I'm depending on a question, on answers that have been given to me by the, the county government of Murang'a. So that's why I've said, let me visit so that I can make personal commitment. And secondly, you know that cooperatives is a shared responsibility or a shared function between county governments and national governments. So we have to be, both governments have to be there to see who does what, so that we can coordinate our issues properly.
Senator Boni Kalwale. Senator Boni, then Senator Manzo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you are out of order. Mr. Speaker, allow me to congratulate the new minister for his presence in this ministry. The country remembers that His Excellency, the President, because of the weighting he put on this issue, actually assigned special responsibilities to the former Deputy President to do what you're doing now. And we didn't see his footprints. In a short time, you've blown a strong breath of hope in the coffee sector. And Mr. Speaker, I want to, before I ask, acknowledge your answer in part C, where you have spoken to the coffee revitalization strategy that covers special areas that include policy and so on and so forth. This is very good. But there's something you've left out, and which concerns me, the issue of governance. You and I have been around for a while. You know that the Nordic countries were so interested in this particular cooperative movement that they actually put up a cooperative college in Karen. And that college, I don't know what had happened, Madam Speaker, it was converted into a university. So, and this is the college that would give capacity building in the area of governance in our cooperatives. So given that the university has taken over the college, what are you planning to do to ensure that these skills of governance are then given to these people from a centralized place, recognized like the former cooperative college that was in Nordic? And finally, Madam Speaker, with your permission, the blueprint which you have attempted to give in C gives a lot of hope to all farmers across the country, including our own home, you and I, Kakamega. The people of Shitori cooperative, Shitori factory in Idaho Central, of Ekolomani, like many other, like Kimuri, are waiting to hear how much money you've put in the budget to ensure that Shitori factory in Ekolomani, like many others, can actually be revitalized.
Senator Manzo.
Yes, Madam Speaker, you know the minister is on his feet, but I will be as brief as possible. First, I want to congratulate the CS for coming up with the new cooperatives law, because this is going to deal with the governance in individual cooperatives like Kimuri. But bearing in mind that the budget to Ministry of Cooperative has remained tiny over the years, and also bearing in mind that the counties whereby they're dealing with the cooperatives as a devolution strategy is also underfunded. What are you going to do about ancient situations like Kimuri? Do you have some other sources of funding, you know, like international funding, interested people in the cooperative movement worldwide who really want to support Kenyan cooperative movement so that you have funds to revive a cooperative like Kimuri? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Murango, Honorable CS, you could even take your seat because we'll take the questions and then you respond to them together.
Asante sana Mstahiki Speaker. Mstahiki Speaker, kwanza ni kushukuru kwa swali ambayo umeuliza kuhusu vyama vya ushirika ambazo vingi vimefilisika. Jambo la kwanza, sababu kubwa inakuanga ni uongozi mbaya katika vyama vya ushirika na wale wanaoongoza katika vyama vile ambao wanachaguliwa kule mashinani. Na waziri, unajua lazima tukianza kutatua tatizo tuweke msingi ya kwamba jambo hilo halijatokea. Kulikuwa na sababu kubwa ambayo ilifanya Kimuri kufilisika, ambalo inafaa iangaliwe kwa kina. Kwanza, ilifilisika kwa nini? Kwa sababu tunapojaribu kuongeza kuzalisha kahawa na wakulima bado wanaenda kilomita 10 kwenda kupeleka kahawa yako katika mitambo ya kusagia na vyama vya ushirika, wengi wataenda kulima vitu vingine ambavyo havingekuwa vya maana sana kushinda kahawa. Mstahiki Speaker, na kitu ambacho ningeambia waziri ni kwamba na chanzo kubwa sana vyama kufilisika, kuna mambo mengine inatokana na maafisa ambao wako katika wizara yako, wale maafisa wa vyama vya ushirika. Nasema hivyo kwa nini? Juzi mwaka uliopita katika Kirinyaga, Kibireu Cooperative Society, Mutira Cooperative Society kutoka Kirinyaga, karibu sifilisike kwa sababu ya mikopo iliyochukuliwa ambayo ilikuja ikakumbaliwa na maafisa kutoka wizara yako. Wakakopa pesa na wakukopa kwa bank, walikopa kwa watu binafsi, halafu wakakata wakulima. Kwa hivyo ni jambo moja linalofaa kushughulikiwa. Mstahiki Speaker, nikimalizia, pia kama tunataka wakulima wa kahawa wawe na pesa mfukoni, kuna mambo mpaka tuangalie. Katika gazeti la serikali juzi kulikuwa na toleo ambalo lilikuwa limetolewa na waziri Mbadi, ambao ilikuwa linasema kwamba sasa wakulima nafaa watakuwa natozwa 0.3 pesa ambayo itaenda kwa shirika taasisi ya CMA ambayo iko katika wizara hiyo ya hazina, 0.3 ambayo itaenda kama malipo ambayo italipa ile malipo ya moja kwa moja inaitwa DSS, na 0.2 ambazo zilikuwa zinafaa iende katika soko, katika Nairobi Coffee Exchange. Mstahiki Speaker, hata tukiamusha Kimuri na tuendelee kutoza wakulima, na ambao nasema ni ubaguzi wa wakulima kwa sababu CMA inatoa pesa yake katika hazina kuu. Kwa nini lazima iwe mmea ambao utatozwa pesa ni mmea moja tu wa kahawa na CMA? Kwa nini? Hiyo ndio swali nimekuwa nikiuliza. Kwa hivyo waziri, najua hiyo si sehemu yako, lakini ningependa pia ufuatilie kidogo, uangalie wakulima wako vyama vya ushirika ni pesa ngapi zinakatwa, kwa sababu kama Kirinyaga sisi tumejipanga. Na waziri, najua unakubaliana na mimi, kama kuna mahali vyama vya ushirika zimekita mizizi na ziko sawa ni Kirinyaga. Tuko na factory 27, tuko na vyama vya ushirika 14 na chama kimoja kikubwa katika Kirinyaga ambao kinaangalia mambo ya kahawa. Lakini pia tumeweza kununua machini ya kusaga kahawa, tunajisagia wenyewe na sasa tunajiuzia wenyewe. Lakini hapo tumepatikana hapo na CS Bandi bado wanataka kukula kutoka kwa kikapu chetu. Angalia hiyo waziri.
Senator Chararike.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. From the onset, before I just support your statement, I want to congratulate my friend, Governor Governor Oparanya, the new CS, for the good job he's doing in the coffee and other subsector. Madam Speaker, just to follow up on your question, just like Imuri, in Nandi, and there is a perception in this country, and sorry for saying this, Madam Speaker, that coffee is only grown in Mount Kenya or Murima, but coffee is grown across the country, including Nandi, Bungoma, among other areas. And even Kakamega, Machakos, Makueni, and many other areas across the country. Madam Speaker, in line with the Coffee Cherry Fund under the Coffee Bill, what are the strategies alongside Kimuri Factory that, Madam Speaker, you have raised to support coffee cooperative farms, cooperative societies? For example, in Nandi Hills, especially in Tindre sub-county, we have, just to name a few, cooperative societies like Kipsiele, Cooperative Society, Kapunyeria, Madam Speaker, Kapkulumben Cooperative Society, Kabrer Cooperative Society. We also have Sarwat and Kapsawas Cooperative Society in Aldai sub-county and across the entire of Nandi. What are the strategies along Kimuri Coffee Factory in Kairi village as the CS put in place to spur and ensure these coffee cooperative societies across the country are no longer going under or are being declared insolvent, and therefore they are able to support the growth and the flourishing of coffee growth and coffee business across, even in Kericho, where like for Tenan, in Kericho, where we have many cooperative societies. For Tenan, I don't know why my teacher is excited today, Professor Tomo Jenda, and he just walked in. Madam Speaker, and therefore, what are the strategies, including, Kericho is my neighboring, like for Tenan area, Kipkelion area, farmers also grow a lot of cooperative coffee, even in Bungoma, in Kakamega. What are the strategies? What is the silver bullet? And I'm happy that the CS is a former governor, so he understands it is easy for him to manage both what the counties is doing in terms of what is happening in Kimuri and across the nation, so that we can continue, Madam Speaker. And therefore, that's my supplementary question, and to thank him for supporting Senator Boni Kalwale for Governor of Kakamega County. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Chadadi. Senator Madago Jackson, are you doing campaign from the floor of the House? It's not allowed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And I think let me congratulate Cherargei for recognizing that the former governors can help current senators to become governors. Honorable Speaker, I just want to ask the CS, just alongside that supplementary question of Kimuri Coffee Factory, that part of the challenges that has been cited is farmers having to go very long distance to take their produce to the next factory, Honorable Speaker. I wanted to know what the Cabinet Secretary is doing to make sure that the services of the Coffee Research Institute, which is a very important organization towards coffee productivity and quality, what is he doing to make sure that those services are available in other parts of the country, particularly the western part of Kenya? And when we talk of western part of Kenya, it's the whole of former Western Province, the whole of the Rift Valley and Nyanza, where coffee now is being grown as a very serious commercial crop, so that these services can be available and productivity can be increased, and we can see also an increase of new factories in the region. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Senator Madego. Senator Professor Tom Odhiambo Ojienda, SC.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, my supplementary question addressed to the CS cooperatives is specific to some of the questions that have been sought on the measures that the ministry is doing, not only to enhance the functions of cooperatives in the Nyanza region, but particularly the efforts that your ministry is making to also encourage coffee growing in areas such as Nyakach, Moroni, which is part of the zone that extends from Fortenan down to the areas where we know that coffee grows, and whether you have put any funds into that effort. CS, thank you.
Honorable CS, you can take up those questions now.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank members for those questions. Those questions are very, very important for the sector. And then the first question by Bonnie Halwale on governance. Madam Speaker, honourable members, the issue of governance, I think I've really expanded on it. One is that there is already the cooperative bill before you, before this Senate. This cooperative bill has already been passed by the National Assembly. As soon as you deal with this, you will have sorted 70% of the problems that we have in governance. So if you can take it in view of your concerns, then it will help us as a country move forward. The issue of the Cooperative College, Cooperative University of Kenya still has a mandate within its objective to support the cooperative sector, because it is a child, it came out of, it is born out of the cooperative movement. So one of its major objectives is to build capacity within the cooperative movement, even to be the center of keeping all data on cooperative movement. So if you wanted anything to do with the cooperatives, you go to the university, college of university, cooperative university, and you'll get all the documentation you want on the cooperative movement in Kenya. It is still doing that particular service, although it's not prominent. When I came in, I've engaged the management of the cooperative university, and I've told them now to come out and make sure that on the issue of governance, since we have mwongozo for parastatals, we must also have mwongozo for cooperatives, because now cooperative movement has become big with over 30,000 cooperative societies in the country. As mentioned, Madam Speaker, we have come up with a revitalization strategy to revive coffee cooperatives, at the same time revive the growing of coffee. And you remember when the president was addressing the last, when addressing the parliament last time, he committed himself to making sure that by 2028, 2029, the production of coffee will have increased from the current 51,000 metric tons to 150,000 metric tons. As a ministry, we have taken the responsibility of making sure that this presidential promise is achieved. And that's why we came up with the revitalization strategy, and the president at the moment has committed to provide 500 million Kenya shillings between now and June of this year to start that exercise. Through that, cooperatives like Chitoli that you have mentioned, Honorable Halwale, will benefit from those particular funds. And I have already talked to few members of parliament, including Bonnie Halwale, about the importance of embracing coffee farming in this country, because at the moment, Madam Speaker, we are now, coffee is fetching the highest prices since the last 10 years. It is now fetching, farmers used to get 50 shillings per kilo of cherry, per kilo of cherry. Now the average is about 114 at the moment. It has never happened. Yeah? Because there is a big shortage of coffee. Countries like China have now embraced consumption of coffee. So Kenyans should take this particular opportunity and make sure that we grow coffee. However, as mentioned by Senator Mwanzo, is that as a ministry, we have not managed to get proper budget. We have presented a budget of about 4 billion Kenya shillings in order to make sure that production.
Senator Murango, what's your point of clarification?
Asante Mstahiki Speaker. Waziri, sijui kama unajua kwamba katika Bungoma, Cheskaki na Cheptais mwaka huu wamepata shilingi 21 tu kwa kilo ya kahawa. Kwa sababu nimesikia ukisema kwamba wakulima sasa wanapata kuanzia shilingi 100 kwenda juu. Hawa katika Bungoma kahawa yao kilo moja imetoka shilingi 21 tu, waziri. Kwa hivyo hapo si kweli. Kuna wakulima bado hawajaweza kunufaika na jitihada ambazo mnafanya kama serikali ama ukiwa waziri kupata pesa nzuri katika kahawa.
Madam Speaker, I've yet to get the evidence of what the senator is saying, because my statistics are from the Nairobi Coffee Exchange. That's where we get our statistics. And you see, in coffee farming, farmers are free to sell to whoever. They are not compelled to come to Nairobi Coffee Exchange. There is a parallel marketing. You can sell yourself. But there are, of course, middlemen who go to farmers, and sometimes farmers need money quickly. They buy cheaply and transport the same coffee to come and sell at the Nairobi Coffee Exchange to make a kill. So I will advise the senator that the farmers should avoid selling coffee to the middlemen. There are proper structures. There is a mill in...
Senator Boni Halwale, are you sure you want to have a point of order, because he's not a senator submitting from the floor of the House? What is your clarification?
Madam Speaker, this is very important. In Kirinyaga, farmers were paid as high as 151 shillings per kilo. In Mount Elgon and most parts of Western, it was between 20 and 30 shillings. Could the minister clarify, why is this differential? Why should farmers doing the same good job be paid 21 shillings in Western, and in Kirinyaga, they're paid 151 shillings?
Senator Boni,
I was pursuing standing order number 105. That's why I was struggling on accuracy of what is being stated. But you have shown me, and the minister has heard me. We are concerned because we have now, Minister, we've gone full throttle. We're telling farmers to plant. But 21 shillings against 151?
Senator Boni, he was in the middle of answering that same question from Senator Murango.
Yeah.
So maybe you allow him to finish the response he's giving.
Madam Speaker, I've yet to get that statistic said by Senator Halwale. I'm yet to get that statistics. Yeah? Me, I can prove my own statistics. There is no differential. But I've said clearly that in other regions, there are people who take advantage of farmers, and they go to the farmer street, buy the coffee from them, the cherry from them, and process the same cherry and bring it to Nairobi Coffee Exchange and sell at a kill. And that's why I want to advise the two members of parliament that this is now an education to those farmers. Tell the farmers there is a cherry fund. So there is no need for them being in a hurry. As soon as you have your cherry, there is a fund already. You make an application from any cooperative bank, any branch of cooperative bank. You fill the form, it is proved that the cherry is with you and you are able to be paid a minimum of 50 shillings per.
Indulge in the moment with every spoonful of Delamere real fruit yogurt.
The Ruto government has undertaken. And within those 5 days, they will pay you minus the 50 that you will have received in advance. So I don't see how a farmer can accept to sell the coffee at 30 shillings when already there is a cherry fund that can give 50 shillings. I don't believe that, Madam Speaker. Do I continue, Madam Speaker?
Let's proceed on. You're doing well. Proceed.
Yes. Thank you very much. So, Madam Speaker, the issue of churches that Dr. Marango, our Senator, the issue of churches. You know, coffee, 75% of coffee farmers are smallholders. It's only 25% that are estate, the big boys. A small farmer with a half acre, 1 acre, cannot manage to have his or her cherry processed and taken to Nairobi for auction at the Nairobi Coffee Exchange. And that's why there is a cooperative movement. So you will find that these small farmers are within a small cooperative movement, so that the cooperative movement is able to provide these services to the small farmer. And the cooperative movement is not doing this service for free, because it's a movement, it is an establishment, it has staff, it has machinery. So those services should be paid for. Through the reforms, the government has said that the minimum that the coffee farmer can be paid is 85% of the selling price. The 15% will go to other service provider. Because a small coffee farmer cannot transport coffee from Bungoma, mill it, and then take it to the Nairobi Coffee Exchange. So those providing other services, we are now limiting it, which has not happened before. It is now being limited through that legislation, although some people have gone to court to stop that. But that is the best way. That's how coffee farmers will benefit to the maximum. So those services paid, and it's 0 point something. It's not even 1%. It's not even, we have even now reduced payment to brokers. The CMA, we have reduced. We have slightly increased payment to the Nairobi Coffee Exchange because of the services they provide. Now, Senator Nandi, I want to congratulate Nandi. Nandi and Kericho now have come up, they have become among the top 10 highest producer of coffee in this country. And most of them, most of the farmers are moving from tea, because those areas have been known for tea, because there are more money in coffee. And let me state here categorically that coffee is grown in 33 counties. And the coffee can grow anywhere. Leave this belief that coffee can only grow in a particular area. And we want to promote coffee to be grown in the entire country. And this is now our mission, that coffee should be grown, but because this is the only crop I can, at the moment, I feel that can change the economy of this country. And that's why we have reforms. And Madam Speaker, give me a chance next time I come and tell the honorable members here the reforms that this government has undertaken within the coffee sector that will make more people grow coffee. Thank you very much.
We have one more question from Senator Christo Kegeni Asige.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I think that I might have pressed the button erroneously, but I do wish to extend my welcome to the Honourable Minister. I think this is the first time that we've met here in Parliament, and I congratulate him as well on the work that him and his ministry are doing. I thank you.
Thank you, Senator Asige. Honourable CS, thank you for the answers you have offered for the questions that have been posed by the senators. Is there a clarification? Senator Mudavadi.
Yes, Honorable Chair. I didn't hear the CS respond on the issue of Coffee Research Institute.
Yes, CS, you can take
it. I remember very well, but I thought he has been a colleague of mine. We have been friends. I thought we could meet outside there, and then I expand on that particular issue. But since he needs an answer, Coffee Research Institute is under the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock, but in terms of collective responsibility, I will attempt to answer that particular question, because we are getting coffee seedlings from Coffee Research Institute. In fact, through the coffee revitalization strategy, we have engaged Coffee Research Institute. And what was happening, you remember when AFA was introduced in 2012, farming became an issue. And that's why you can see every sector within agriculture, sugarcane, they are now coming with their own legislation. Coffee, where we were back before 2012, coffee, they are also coming with their own legislation. And now this will stimulate Coffee Research Institute. Coffee Research Institute, since 2012, has actually been underfunded. And now we are saying now, using part of this money that we are being given, the budget of 500 million Kenya shillings, we want most of this money is going towards Coffee Research Institute to activate it, to produce more seedlings for our farmers. And in fact, they are now moving up all the seedlings in the country for this particular strategy. So that particular organization is being revived, and it's one of the strategy. I'm grateful to the management of Coffee Research under Dr. Kichuru that they are doing a good job to make sure that we revive the coffee sector.
Thank you very much, Honourable CS, and thank you for the insights you have offered on the coffee sector and the other question that was brought forth. And I believe you'll come back to the House to talk about the coffee reforms as you have proposed. I'm sure one of the senators, you pick up that proposition by the minister so that we push it to the next level. So right now I want to release you together with your team, and you can leave at your own pleasure. Thank you very much, CS. Honourable Senators, we have the remaining agenda on the paper, from the order paper. Item number 9, agenda 9, 10, 11, 12. The movers are not in the House, so we will defer them to the next sitting of Senate. Honourable Senators, there being no other business on the order paper, the Senate stands adjourned until later today, Wednesday, 2nd April 2025 at 2:30 p.m. Thank you.